Then go ahead and introduce yourself. You ready?
Cool. Yes, sir.
Hello, last gents. This is your man over Mustang, and you're tuned into Aura-Genz, your friendly local hub anonymous geek squad podcast. For the latest underground news, gamings, and all things geek, today we got an electrifying interview that will light up your circuit. So buckle up because we're delving deep into the world of guest expertise. Get ready to be amazed, enlightened, and above all, entertained. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Timothy McKain of McKain Entertainment Network. I am a filmmaker, music producer, and an actor, amongst other things. Oh, and I'm also a radio personality. I'm a part of the first ever. I'm a part of the first ever all-black sports radio station in the country, Sports Rap Radio, which was actually founded by Rob Parker, who also founded MLB
Congratulations.
Bro. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Congratulations and shout out to you. And so that all is it? You was talking about all black cast for podcast,
All black sports radio station. Yes, sir.
all
Detroit,
black
Michigan.
radio sport radio station.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is that what you posted on your YouTube?
Yes, sir. Posted on YouTube. We've had 3 episodes so far. We're going to shoot a 4th one next week.
That's what's up. And how that all started?
Brother, the power of social media. The power of social media is absolutely amazing. It can connect you to people from all different walks of life. And, I've been doing this sports interviewing thing since, I want to say, 2017, 2018. And I've been able to study how to get connected with people. And so basically, I knew that Rob Parker was starting this black and brown baseball website, MLBBro.com. And I wanted to actually interview him. And so I got in touch with, so basically what I did was I went and I just studied his social media page. And so what I did was I was like, well, I might not be able to get connected to Rob Parker, but I might be able to get connected to somebody that knows Rob Parker. So I just went through his social media page and, I found his nephew. And his nephew was someone who might not have had the same amount of social media followers. And so I, built a social media relationship with him. Just told him what I was doing with sports radio, and then I said I would love to interview Rob Parker, and he gave me the opportunity. And I had one of my favorite interviews with Rob Parker, and then after that, Rob Parker invited me on MLB Bro, and after I did that, he gave me I got the opportunity to be a part of the first all black sports station. Matter of fact, me and Tony Jet Jackson were the first podcasters to join the first all-black sports radio station. So we are African American first. Me and Tony Jackson. Yes, sir.
Congratulations to y'all. And by first podcasters, is the other members what's their background?
So in terms of first, so he had other people who were basically a part of MLB Bro, who were part of his network that were already had shows on there, but we were the first podcast group that were on there. They already had shows, but we were the first podcast group to join, we were the first podcast network to join the radio station. So they already had shows, but we were the first podcast.
Got it. Okay, so the radio station itself was a platform that hosts your podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Got it. So when this was forming, when you was forming your show on the radio station, y'all the founding members?
Yes, sir. Well, my idea, and I can do things myself, but for me, it's like, how many other people can I bring along? Can I bring along a brother or sister? Can I bring along somebody that, that I know is talented, that has vision? And so the idea was, okay, we're going to call it The Fight Game with Tim McKain. And then I thought about it, and I said, wouldn't it be cool if I kind of went back in my bag and had a co-host? I had a co-host before with the show called The Sports Trap with Derek Hall. And I just remember loving having a co-host. We actually had a show back on Believe Podcast called Believe in HBCUs, and I just remember all those moments. And I was like, you know what? Let me kind of go. And then also, I had another radio show on a local radio station called 105.1 Live, and it was a camaraderie, it was a brotherhood. And so I was like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've done sports shows by myself, but for this one, for history, I want to have another brother along with me. And me and Tony, man, we had done several interviews and podcasts together, you know, and he's someone that has incredible vision. He's got someone
Mm-hmm.
who, and he's willing to be a team player. It's always good to have people who are team players with you, who know what the
Mm-hmm.
goal is. If you got somebody in there who is like, oh, it's got to be about me, and I got to be the one that shines all the time. We don't want them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want them. We want somebody that's part of a team, that's a part of a unit, that's got a goal in mind, that's got a vision, and we can work together. You know what I mean? He corrects me on one thing, I correct him on another thing, or she corrects me on one thing, I correct her on another. This is about building. This is about how we can get better together. And so that's why I wanted to make the show where it was both me and Tony. So I hope that answered your question.
Mm-hmm. That was a good answer. And I'm curious as well, how many members do the podcast have?
How many podcasters are on the sports radio station right now?
Yeah, I'm curious about the members.
That's a great question. The only ones that I've seen so far is like maybe two or three, but I don't know the names. I'm gonna be honest with you. All the shows that I'm gonna tell you,
Mm-hmm.
I support sports rap radio,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to do a better job of actually, detailing, what other shows are
Mm-hmm.
really out there. You know what I mean? I'm really promoting my show, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll make sure to do a better job of, sharing people's content because there's a lot of great content on sports rap radio. I paid attention to it, but I got to do a better job of
Mm-hmm.
actually, naming people's names and, all that kind of information.
Shout out. And I'm curious, like, um, you also brought up, you act as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
You mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. So I started out acting. My mother, she had a school called the BE Academy, or the BE School.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Growing up, we did church plays. We did biblical plays. We did the birth of Jesus and all that kind of stuff. And so I've always had a love for acting and theater. And so when I was in college, I met a man named TumainiJohnson. And I had
Mm-hmm.
written a short film before called Skate Dreams. It was about an African American woman who was in love with a Latino skateboarder who was trying to become pro. But
Mm-hmm.
it totally flopped. I tried to get I had the camera ready, I had the script ready, but the actors didn't show up, and so I was like, all right, I'm done now.
Oh,
I
wow.
tried, it didn't work, but I still
Mm-hmm.
had an interest. So I met a man named TumainiJohnson, and we did a short film together called 41 Shots. It was about Ahmad Diallo, who was actually shot 41 times by the police.
Dang.
And it was a silent film. And that was my first short film that I did. The second film I did, I played as Zell Blair, who was a part of the Greensboro Four. So the short film was called The Lunch Counter. And so it was kind of detailing um, the beginning of the civil rights movement in the 60s. And so I had
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity of playing as Zell Blair. I then, for my third project, which is actually a feature film, I made a movie about a black revolutionary actor named Craig Scott. Craig Scott is a black activist who robbed banks, put the money into black banks, fund black culture, arts, and plays. He employed black people, and he had a play called Can an N-Word Do Shakespeare, breaking the stereotype that black
Mm-hmm.
actors can't intellectually perform it. So while he was out, you know, thinking about retirement, his team went on a mission without him. One of the members who was
Mm-hmm.
actually working with the government, they went on a mission, they got caught, and the member who was a part of COINTELPRO wrote his name down. He was sentenced 52 years for conspiracy to rob banks. But
Dang.
after serving 26 years in prison, the former black revolutionary actor who was the bodyguard to Minister Louis Farrakhan and Dr. Khalid Muhammad was released due to former President Trump's First Step Act, which was written in 2019. He was released in 2020. I met him in 2021. We made a movie about his life. It's actually on Tubi. It was distributed by Dame Dash Studios. We had a billboard in downtown Atlanta, and we had a billboard in New York, Times Square. So, and then most
Congratulations.
recently, thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. That was amazing, brother. And then fourthly, we just did another. We did another movie with TumainiJohnson. And all, by the way, these are movies all done by TumainiJohnson. TumainiJohnson is an incredible director, writer, producer. He has been nothing
Is
but a great
is it
friend.
safe to say? Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
I was just gonna ask real quick. Is it safe to say that going down forward with any upcoming project, he would be on there?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We got another one. We have a premiere happening this Friday at the Carolina Theater on the
Okay.
26th of July, and it's gonna be put out on YouTube shortly after. But it was a 7-minute short film, and it was really cool to kind of get back into my acting bag. I hope to get some more acting experience in the future because I love acting. I love playing dramatic characters. I wouldn't mind
Mm,
playing a comedic role, or different things like that. So I love movies, and so to be able to convey positive messages in film
mm.
is important in our community. And so, for me,
I
making a
agree.
movie again was a blast.
I agree. Shout out to that. And so, correct me if I'm wrong. So you've been part of 3 uh projects that's out already.
3 projects out already, and the 4th one on the way.
Okay. And when it came to acting, you enjoy, well, you say you do enjoy like comedic roles or like roles that has some mean.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What
Yes, sir.
what role do and you also brought some drama acting as well. Um so what role do you find challenging for yourself?
Ooh, that would be it. That's really interesting. I think I haven't had a role that was challenging for me yet, per se,
Mm,
but because I've done more short films, and even in the film even in the feature film, I acted as myself,
mm,
as the interviewer. So, but if I were to say what role would be challenging for me, I think it would be from a cultural perspective of like I would have to see. I really don't know.
mm,
I personally, I believe that I have the ability to study a character, understanding who the what the idea and concept is, kind of embracing that. So like the key for
mm,
me for acting is not only remembering the lines, but me putting myself in who the character is or was. So,
mm,
for me, it's like just, it's really the process of me just like, taking my time, getting myself in the right mindset to really just,
mm.
embodying a character. So I don't think I'd have to see, you know what I mean? I would
Okay.
love to be challenged that way. I mean, there might be certain roles that I might not do. I mean, there's certain roles I'm
Mm.
not gonna do. You know what I mean? You're not gonna put me in no dress. I am not gonna be.
uh
That's not
I can
happening.
respect that.
Some people can do
Mm.
that, and more power to them. But I am not. You're not gonna find this black man in the dress. No, 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 no.
Especially when it comes to our culture as well. When it comes to black men, there's a stigma, especially when it comes to like mainstream, like Hollywood and everything. So, you know, because I'm 27 now, so when I grew up seeing like, what was it? Jamie Foxx,
Mm.
uh, some of even like, did they put Eddie Murphy in a dress? I think,
He might have been. I don't know. I don't know. He probably was though with a dress. I mean, he's a comedian.
yeah, well, yeah.
I could see him.
So it's just like,
Yeah, he definitely
so
was in a dress. Norbit,
yeah,
Norbit, Norbit. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's just like from someone that's not an actor and just like watching these films and everything, it was kind of hard to like, like, is this just part of acting? Is this just part of like role playing? You
Mm.
know, is there like, a stigma behind this or whatever? Especially when you hear some of the stories like, I forgot that one with, the guy that, starring, Martin. Where you play as like the Grand Lady.
Okay. Okay. Well, you talking
Uh,
about Martin Lawrence, or you talking about
yeah,
because he
Martin
does.
Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah, when you play as like the old lady, when you
Mm.
gotta like wear like the suit and everything.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, in the
Big
third
Mama's
film,
house.
Big Mama House 3. He had like a star guest.
Oh, I know who you're talking
Uh,
about. I know.
yeah,
What's the
and,
brother's
and
name?
I
Brandon
forgot his name
something.
too.
Brandon. Brandon.
Yeah, he was talking.
Brandon T. Jones, I think, something like that.
I believe so. You might be right. And he was talking about his experience after, like, putting on the dress, like, his career just, like, went downhill, or, certain roles wasn't offered to him and everything. So it's just like, when you see it, maybe once or twice, all right, you're not too sure. But when you see it, like, repetitively, like, you can't deny it at this point. So, like, even when it's, like, coming down to, like, playing the role, I think
Mm.
it left such a sting and stigma that it's not really worth, especially like a straight black man, career-wise. I don't think it's really worth, going down that road.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, no. After you, and then I'll make my point.
Um, but bring this back to you. What I was going to ask, like, well, I guess the point that I was trying to make, like, for me just being like an outsider, I couldn't really tell the difference. But for someone that's experienced in acting, you know, is there a difference between like, just putting on a dress for a role, or, you know, especially like from a black man perspective, could it just be considered acting?
Mm. So this is how I would answer this question, right? To me, there should be the conversation shouldn't be whether or not a black man should wear a dress or not. The conversation
Mm,
should be where is the balance in films?
okay.
That's the question. Where's the balance in films and TV shows? Why are our TV shows showcasing black men in beating our women? Why are we showing our black men only playing negative, stereotypical roles in the majority
Mm,
of films and TV shows that we're seeing today? We're glorifying the negative connotations of culture in some degrees, because it's, to be honest with you, it shows a lot of toxic relationships. And I know, toxicity sells, but I know that, and we all know that there are shows that have been major shows, major
mm,
TV movies, major movies that show positive content, that show excellence, and there there isn't a balance in that when it comes to black content. So there wouldn't be a question about, well, why is a black man in a dress, if there weren't more shows that showed all of us, if it showed all different sides of what it means to be black. And so
okay.
for me, that's the real question. It isn't because, look, my favorite actor is Cary Grant. He's an actor from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and he was in a dress in one of his movies, right? But the idea was that he did so many other movies that were outside of just that one role that most people don't see Cary Grant in a dress. And when it comes to our culture, when it comes to the content that we make, that we invest in ourselves, or that someone else invests in us, there isn't really a balance in showing. Why is there only one Boomerang movie? Boomerang was a movie
Mm,
that a lot of people were challenged by. A lot of people say, why isn't there a main white actor in the movie and all this kind of stuff? People had issues with. Nobody had issues with Boys in the Hood. Nobody had issues with Menace to Society, but people had issues with Boomerang. Why is
mm,
that? Because that's another side of blackness. That's another
mm,
side of excellence that is not always shown. So I always respect Eddie Murphy for what he did, whether it be Dr. Doolittle, um, whether it be Boomerang, because he was trying to showcase African American excellence. Same thing for Spike Lee. Spike Lee challenged the status quo. Spike Lee, he made great content that challenged people's perspectives, that brought activism to life, that showed black love. And these are
mm,
the types of movies that I believe that we should be pushing now, more of a balanced, diverse perspective. For the past 10, 15 years, now I know that Tyler Perry's kind of stopped with the Medea thing, but Medea,
mm,
Medea and Tyler Perry, that was the biggest
mm,
content. The reason why people were mad at Tyler Perry was just because Tyler Perry was the only one for about 10, 15 years. He was the main guy. There was no other black
Mm,
director in that time period that had the same influence, that had the same pedigree as Tyler Perry.
mm,
So, but if there were more black directors that showcased our excellence, that showcased our diversity in thought and beliefs and different things of that nature, we wouldn't have a problem
mm,
with Tyler Perry because there's a diversity in films. The problem is that there's not a, just because, just because, um, it's interesting. I got to make sure I say this right, but there's they try to put a stereotype on diversity films or diverse films, and to
yeah.
me, there needs to be more science, sci-fi black films, more romantic black films, more um, more kung fu black films, more
I
you,
agree.
you know what I mean, more thriller black films. So the whole idea of a black man in a dress. If a black man wants to be in a dress, I'm not ever going to be in a dress. I wouldn't necessarily advocate for a
Mm,
black man to be in a dress, but the problem is that there's no diversity in diversity.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that was a good answer. You brought up a good point that that is something that been lacking, but it's not only been lacking in, movies,
Mm,
music. I also grew up on the radio station. I don't remember my childhood when I got a chance to listen to the same song 5, 10 times in 24 hours. Now, you know, the way how the radio station is set up, uh, is and it's not just for black music either. If you go on like any other, like country like radio station, they play the same songs, the same rotation. So is it's coming down to like the people in power, and I think you bring up another good point leading towards like not adding diversity or adding to well when you was bringing up Tyler Perry, like not correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like he was getting at like not investing back into your community, offering new content and building from that. Um, I think they also showcase like we in an environment that destroying it
mm,
all around like entertainment, um, music, movies, etc.
mm,
Um, it's a weird time period too.
mm,
Um, to be in as right now, especially as an entertainer, because like right now, it feel like almost everybody's on the same playing field
mm.
when it comes to like the big dogs, and because like everybody now is like a content creator, even artists is considering themselves as content creator. So I'm curious from your experience, from directing your films, being an actor, and also being part of a podcast on a radio station. I wondered, for you, how much has like entertainment changed over time?
Oh well, entertainment is always changing. Um, entertainment changes policy. Entertainment changes education. Entertainment changes perspectives. The things that we watch are the things that we watch are the things that we become. The things that we listen to are the things that we become. So everybody needs to be careful with what they really gauge their eyes to. So, and people say, "What do you mean we have control?" No. At the end of the day, the media and the propaganda that we see influences us. What we see our parents do in their life with our own eyes. They always say, "Don't we don't watch what our parents say, we watch what our parents do." And when it comes to our community, we watch a lot of entertainment, and so what we see is what we become. And so,
Mm,
for me, knowing that, one of the things that I want to do is I want to be able to create entertainment that is engaging, that's thoughtful, but that's also educational, that shows a man and a woman loving each other, that shows strong family units, strong family values, that shows activism, that shows diversity in thought, that shows faith, that shows hope. you know, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, the short film that I did recently. I mean, I'm not really a hopeful character. I'm kind of a depressed character, to be honest with you. It's a romantic character where I just broke up with my woman, and I thought it was the woman that I loved, but it's still love nonetheless, you know. And so I think that
Wait, this was a character or real life?
this was a character.
Okay.
This was a
I was like,
character.
damn, you handled that breakup pretty well.
Well, you know, what I would say is, you know, you gotta whenever you're in your life, whenever you're in life, and you know you're going through breakups or you're going through certain things in life, you gotta keep moving forward. You know, um, and I think that should be shown as well. You know, when people you can give love to people and they
mm,
might not see it that way, and you got to move on and step. You know, to be honest with you, I've been able to use rejection not only in relationships but in business and life, and I've been able to trust God to keep moving forward. To answer your
mm,
question, so like you know, everybody, you know, when you're trying to do things, when you're trying to chase your dreams, and you're trying to chase your goals, you know, life happens, and you know,
mm,
when life happens, you gotta understand what your goal and what your vision is. You kind of have to sit in it. Sometimes you gotta sit in it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta. For me, I'm a believer, so I gotta get in that word. You know what I mean? I
mm,
gotta understand who I am and what my goal is and what my mission is. Because whenever you're trying to do something, whenever you're trying to do something great, whenever you're a pioneer of something, you know, life is gonna happen. You know what I mean?
mm,
So, um, you know, my character was broken up, and in real life, I did have a situation where I did have to end something with somebody, or, you know, it just ended. You know, so it's like
mm.
when you know the reality is that you just got to keep on going. You got to keep on moving because it's life, and we have a lot to live for. You know,
I agree. And and this was your upcoming film,
the
correct?
one. It's called The One, directed by
The
Timothy
one.
Johnson. Focal Edge Film.
Okay. Wait, what was it?
It's
Something
called
film?
the One, and it's produced and edited and shot by Focal Edge Films.
Vocal X films. Okay.
Sir.
And what is your goal when it comes into, building up your catalog for your films and project? Is it to build a empire into
Mm.
the entertainment field?
Yes, absolutely. Um,
Okay.
like I said before, brother, entertainment affects people's perceptions, perspectives. So because of that, entertainment affects policy. Entertainment affects ways of life and how we treat each other. So my goal, honestly, is to create movies, TV shows, music that empowers our people, that shines the light on what it means to love God, to receive love from God, to give love to other people, to empower
Mm,
people. You know what I mean? That shows, even through adversity, that we continue to grow and build one another up. You know, and so like that's my goal. I made an album. It was a nonprofit album called The New Black Superhero, featuring well not featuring. It's an album by Lorenzo Murphy Jr.
mm.
And that,
Actually, check that out as
please,
well.
please do.
And I was curious to, now I get to ask you directly. Uh, what role do you play in that?
What role did I play? I was the financier. I
Okay.
I I told Lorenzo at the time that I believed in him and I wanted to create positive music. I wanted him to be an example of someone who comes from a strong lineage like himself, someone that's got a strong activist mindset, a strong spirit to uplift and build up people. And in his music, he
Okay.
did that. In his music, he does. I mean, he's an incredible talent. He's an incredible musician, and that was really my goal. I didn't, you know, my goal wasn't really to make money from it, and I did. My goal was to
No.
invest in an artist and my goal was to create positive content, and that's what we did.
Listen to the music I enjoy, and I was actually pretty taken back
Hmm.
by the artist. And did was this like a personal connection that you had, or do you happen to discover him? How that came to be?
Well, he was already discovered.
Okay.
Uh, Lorenzo, um, his father, Lorenzo Murphy Sr., was actually second in command to Freeway Rick Ross. And so he was already big time,
Okay.
let's say a Prince in Compton. Then he got connected to Tyrese Gibson. And he was under the tutelage of Tyrese Gibson. So basically, all I did was I just took a chance on the brother. You know what I mean? He was already discovered. He was already somebody who was gifted. I was just another person who saw the talent and spirit, and I wanted to be able to give the brother an opportunity. And I had some funds, and so I just wanted to invest, and that's what it was for real.
Okay. And will there be any more project with this, or you got any plans for it?
There are probably what I would say with that is that I kind of want to do other projects. You know what I mean? I kind of want to discover different artists. But I would say this: Lorenzo Murphy is an incredible artist. He's super talented.
Mm.
So he's somebody
Yeah, I'm
that I
saying as far as music for you.
oh yeah, oh
Uh,
yeah. There's
mm,
definitely I definitely want there to be some music for me in the future for sure. I definitely want to produce
okay.
more albums and things of that nature for sure. Definitely.
And what we see, and by producing album, in a sense, would we get to see you be an artist as well?
An artist as well. I wouldn't. Hmm, I'm not an artist. I am not.
Okay.
I am not the singing or rapping type. I'm just someone that
So you more in the perspective of supporting the project.
exactly. I want to
Okay.
be able to find the talent, invest in the talent, and be able to help build the talent in any way I can.
Okay. Oh, maybe we can do a collaboration. I already promoted about 100 and I want to say 120 artists,
Hmm.
and I want to say you got a large range from like rock, folk, country, you name it.
Hmm.
And each of them got talent. Um, so if you're looking, like we could basically bring the underground to you. So if you're looking for some talent, we got you.
Okay.
Um, and what my last question when it comes to your music, I'm curious, like how you go by, being interested to start this project. Is it going to be based off of certain genres or the message? I'm not sure if your phone went mute.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Oh, I was curious when it came to your music. I was wondering how you go based off, investing in this project. Is it based off of a message or, you know, different genres? How that
Definitely
go,
based off
for
of a message. Um, I prefer probably the way that I would want to go about it is hip hop, gospel, R&B, things of that nature. I wouldn't mind doing maybe an Afrobeat project, but that's like in the future. That's
actually, I might have somebody in mind. Recently, somebody that I work with go by
okay.
Dadbot. Um, he's actually on a recent mission of creating music to inspire kids, basically being like the science guy.
Hmm.
Like how we had the science guy. Uh, well, at least for me, we had the science guy for like when we was going to school. He would teach us all about science and shit. And you for uh,
No, no, I'm listening to
with
you, brother.
okay. Um, what was I saying? So basically, yeah, he wanted to be the music version guy for kids. So he already on a mission to create music to inspire kids. get them learning. And he wanted to hopefully have a connection and collaboration with like high school.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm all about building and connecting, so I don't mind having a
okay,
conversation with people and networking.
okay,
Definitely don't mind that, because it's about building right now.
mm,
So, but right now I'm in a slow building period of time
mm,
now, really. You know what I mean? Right now
yeah,
it's about building relationships and establishing connections. And then if things happen in the future, they happen, so but we definitely
mm,
got some things in the works. I got some shows that I'm trying to do with Craig Scott. Craig Scott is not only an actor, but he's an activist as well. And
no,
so I'm going to have some potential shows that I'm going to be producing in the future as well. So we got some things cooking. We got some
shout
things.
out to that.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, yeah, that was the only reason why I recommend Deadbot, because I was considering what you have for your mission, and he's also from Chicago
Hmm.
as well.
I like that.
Uh, so yeah, I thought that would be a good connection between y'all. I'll leave
Absolutely.
that up to y'all to discuss that. But that's all what we do for Origin is connect y'all with talents. And then bringing this back to uh can a nigga do it Shakespeare, which is
Hmm.
a crazy ass title. Uh, I actually watched the film twice,
What'd
and
you think?
I'm pretty entertained. It was well put together.
Thank you, brother.
I like the conversation that y'all had, the engagement between y'all, and honestly, uh, that's the type of person I would respect, especially when it comes to like community. We need more, people like him.
Exactly.
Uh,
100% agree with you.
and it's good to see, like you was talking about, a different perspective. I think the main problem that we have when it comes to our community, we don't own shit.
Mm.
Which there's our history of, people investing in the sabotage of our community. Uh, but that doesn't change the fact that, we don't own shit. And, you know, we seen with the celebrities, they are the results and like proof of like what happens when we don't own shit. Cause like
Mm.
we seen a lot of them, like they not in the position as they claim to be. They don't have the power when it comes to like other people within their circle. Uh, there's just a lot of flaws within, selling yourself to these like, corporation companies, uh, you know, platforms. Um, and this is the results when we don't own it. Now when you don't own something, you can't really have control of what message is going to be pushed. And, I said this to somebody, it's kind of hard for me to accept the flaws is
Mm.
if it's not coming from the people that, if it's not coming from my own people. So it's kind of hard for me to accept these flaws when I find out that we don't even own this shit.
Yeah, man. I think the reality is that we have we have the resources to do it. We really
Mm,
do. The question is, are we willing to bet on each other the way that we are
mm,
supposed to? So we don't bet on each other. We don't respect each other. We don't respect each other's time. We don't respect each other's space. We don't respect each other when you know what I mean. Everybody is in it for themselves. It's the crabs in a barrel mentality, and we have to change that. We have to think of ourselves as organizations. We have to think of ourselves as corporations. We have to think of ourselves as not just one person. Yes, it's good to take care of our families, and yes, it's good to build yourself up as a man or build yourself up as a woman. But it's another thing when you also have to look out for your brother or your sister, and that's not just someone in your family; that's someone away from your family. And I think that's what needs to happen. We have to look out for each other. We have to build for each other. Why is it that we can have, let's say, a rich guy, right? A rich guy, he's giving all his brothers money to go to the club. He's giving all his money to hey, here's $100, here's $100, here's $100. We're gonna give to these dancers, but you don't give
mm,
that $100 to your brother who could invest in a business or start an LLC. Hmm? You don't
mm,
do that, but you give him money. You know what I'm saying, to give it to somebody else. but not for himself. That's going to cause
Mm-hmm.
resentment. That's going to cause that this whole thing about, well, I'm a boss, so I'm not. No, the idea is you need to each one teach one. We got to be able to build and uplift each other, and that's what we have to
Mm-hmm.
do as a community because we've done it before. The reality is that we're ignoring each other, totally ignoring each other, and we can't do that.
I agree. I've seen firsthand that we give our best efforts when it comes outside of our communities than when it comes to, working with each other. And I always ask this question, is it selfish if we only focus on our family? Like, when it comes to building, is it selfish if, I only worry about bringing my family up compared to like bringing up my community?
I think you have to start with family first. I think
That's understandable.
so. We have to start with family. We have to start with ourselves. We have to start with family, and then we start with community. But we got to build strong. We got to build strong families. Right now, we don't have
Mm-hmm.
strong families. So the argument, in my opinion, shouldn't be, you know, we got to just build strong families. No, what I'm saying is we should build strong families, but let's not. But the people who have strong families, they shouldn't forget about community. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what the thing is. Okay, you have a strong family. Well, try to inspire somebody or build somebody up to so they can create a strong family themselves. You know what I mean? So yes, we definitely need more strong families. We need more strong individuals, but it's a progression. Strong individual, strong family, strong community, strong nation. That's that's what it is, And so that's my
Mm-hmm.
mindset. That's my mindset.
I agree. I think that was a good answer. Uh, However, if they don't follow that, I will consider that selfish.
Hmm.
You know, because it's just like, yo, especially like, what does it mean to get to the top? You know, in this society, for us to get to the top, we have to surround ourselves with other people, and most likely these other people in other race, they come from a tradition of they carry their whole community. That's what. Right now we at the age when we gotta accept the game what it is. It come by manpower. And no matter what, when it comes to like manpower, we see the influence. We can see, when it comes to like that type of influence, it does logic doesn't even matter. Like that's how powerful that is. So to me, it's just like, you know, just getting up there and it's like only you or is your family, especially where we see, especially like, or let's say, when it comes to like entertainment, like Hollywood. All right, yeah, we see what happened when we get like 5 to 10 people in there. You know, they break them down slowly. They make them, fight with each other. They dangle money at them to see like, what can, break their trust and everything. But imagine what happened if we all walk in that bitch. You know, um, so I do agree with you. It does have to start somewhere with some type of foundation so it doesn't crumble. But let's be on a mission, which is like, especially when we talk about we live in a society when like you got to accept you are expected to work to your deathbed.
Yeah.
We live in
Yeah.
that
I
we
think
live in that type of society. But go ahead.
the way that I'll end it is, the reality is you're not going to get the majority of people to follow a movement until it's popular. But you don't need your entire population to do it. You just need 15 to 20%. If you can get 15 to 20% of your population of your group to
Mm-hmm.
fight for your issues on a consistent basis, that can change the community life. If you get 20 to 25% of your community, and if you can, I mean, that's the high end. But if you can get 15 to 20%, say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, this is what we're doing, and here's why. That's automatically going to make a change in the community. So we don't,
I agree.
so that's the thing we have to realize. We don't have to save everyone. We have to get the
Yeah.
people who want to better. We can no longer go for people who don't want better in their life. We got to go
Yeah.
for the people who want change. If you aren't willing to change, you can't come. You're not invited.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come. You can't grow. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
take some. You going and trying to find somebody and lift them up. It makes no sense if they don't want to be lifted up with you. If they don't want to be helped
I
out,
agree.
you'll drown. You'll drown trying to save somebody who can't swim. You can't
I
do
agree.
that. You got to find the people who are willing to go in the fire with you, you know? But you can't
I
just
agree.
go that. And I learned that. You cannot go and try to save the world and save people. No, people have
Yeah.
to want to do for themselves. They want to have to grow and change for themselves. And if they don't, they can't come. They can't come.
No, I agree on that. I definitely, yeah. You definitely can't waste your time saving somebody that's not willing to be saved. I
No.
definitely agree with that. However, we've been betting on a lot of wrong apples to make it to that position, and then for them to turn around and be like, you know what, I decided to be selfish at this point. Like, motherfucker.
I feel you. I feel you.
um, but I do agree with what you said. I think it's very important. Like even for when you was saying, like, for people to, get up and want to do it themselves, to jump in the fire with you. And I'm curious, like, how do you, you know, go about that? Do you,
Mm.
or go ahead.
No, I think that's a great question. So, one, it's okay if you make mistakes. It's okay if you don't get things right the first time. Look, if you're trying to build an army, you're going to find some duds. You're going to take a few L's. Not everybody's going to want to come or go. Some people are going to want to join you, but then realize later that they can't handle it. And you, as an individual, you as somebody who's a leader that's trying to do something, you
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to accept that they can't go where you want to go and move on and find somebody else. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, time, experience, and chance. You have to pick people who not only say that they want change, but are actually doing something to involve themselves in that change. And you have to find out if they have the character and heart and mind to do so. You cannot go based off of what someone looks like. You can't go based off what someone says. You have to go based off of what they are doing and what they are committed to doing based off their body work and what you see them doing. You have to get the sense beyond just what you hear them say. You got to be able to see them do it. If they're not doing something, while if they're not doing something, if they're not making plans and you don't see them doing certain things, you do not work with
Mm-hmm.
them unless, I mean, you got to be able to see what they're doing. That's what I would say. Like with Craig Scott. When I met Craig Scott had already done a short film. Craig Scott had already done um, a couple of ads before he even met me.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a podcast together. We did a couple of podcasts together. Then we did the movie. Then we started doing work together. We started doing political work together, right? And we you know what I mean? And then we did another short film. So over time, I've been able to build a brotherhood with Craig Scott and be able to build with him, right? Not everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have to realize how rare it is to find people who are going to be a part of your tribe, and you can't take it personally if people can't go. There are some people who just do not understand the plan and they don't have what it takes to get in your tribe. Maybe they can go to someone else's tribe, but they can't go to yours, and you can't take it
Mm-hmm.
personally. You can find talent. The question is it the right talent for you? And do they have the character and will to do it? Do they have the spirit to do it? So I hope that kind of answers your question of character, body of work, working with you studying them. You don't just give opportunities to people
Mm-hmm.
just based off what they say and what they look like. You have to see what they are physically doing.
I agree, judging by their actions. So for the foundation part, yes. Now, I'm curious how you bait them. Like, for example, I do like a message, uh, like especially like throughout my podcast, I would do a message in the hopes of like they would hear something in encouraging words.
Hmm.
Sometimes I would do reference from like older medias that, I grew up on. For example, like Cartoon Network. I would reference like some things that, for example, what I did. I don't think it was from necessary from Cartoon Network, but it was an anime where a character had this speech, Roy Mustang. He was a general, and he had this like speech to rile up his men, to get ready to lay down their life for a cause or whatever. So I would take in these different medias, have like encouraging speech, and people will like hear it in my podcast. I'm already prepping them, on that type of energy of like, connecting, like, fighting for like entertainment, which we are living in a world from my perspective that we are really fighting to be entertainers. 'Cause you already know they're trying to replace us with like AIs. So that's how I go about like baiting people or recruiting, people to my cause is by laying down these messages just constantly spreading, like, hey, get up and fight, come showcase your gift to me, etc. So I'm curious for you, how do you go by, recruiting or baiting, these, I wouldn't necessarily say bait, but recruiting wise,
Recruiting wise.
mm-hmm,
So that's a great question. Um, you kind of have to watch and see for fruit. I don't. The way that I kind of do it is, and this is kind of interesting. What flows flows. And now it sounds kind of crazy, but it's like you kind of see in life who's someone who could potentially come your way. It's not a science; it's an art. I guess what I'm saying is that a lot of people have different ways where they can find people, discover people, strategically. But
mm-hmm,
the Bible talks about time and chance happens to them all. And for me, that's what's happened in my life. Every connection that I've made, every win I've had, every loss I've had, you know, God has put people in my life to teach me certain things. God's put people in my life to build my own character, to know where, okay, this is how I step back in the future. This is how I handle these, this in the future, and, different things like that. So for me, the recruiting period right now, I just watch and I kind of watch for fruit. I kind of watch for the spirit, and I don't always get it right. I do not always get it right. You know what I mean? That's
mm-hmm,
why I say you cannot take it personal. But
mm-hmm,
it's not really more so let me recruit people. It's more so let me see what they do with what I give them. You know what I mean? Let me
okay,
see what I do when let me see what they do, on their own. Like for Jet Jackson. Tony always was doing something. He always had something in his bag. The brother is a visionary, you know,
mm-hmm,
and he was able to be a team player, and I saw that. I saw that from the ground. From the ground up. And so I was like, yo, I would love to have him be a part of my network. Derek Hall. Derek Hall had vision. Derek Hall was somebody who was a good brother who was, trying to do something different. And, I saw that and I was like, yo, brother, let's rock. It might not have worked out the best way, and that was my fault. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to do movies at the time, and I didn't necessarily want to do sports at the time. I just wanted to do movies. And so I ended up making Can Nigga Do Shakespeare. But brothers like Derek Hall, brothers like Jet Jackson, brothers like Craig Scott. These are brothers who are good brothers who they they were already doing something, and they were willing to go in the fire with me, and they were able to fight with me,
mm-hmm,
you know. And so like you'll know who's willing to fight you. And look, they're solid people. They're solid brothers who are part of another tribe. Like Lorenzo Murphy is a solid brother. You know what I mean? But
mm-hmm,
Lorenzo Murphy is going to start his own tribe. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? My idea was to figure out how I can empower him to help him in any way so he can empower his tribe. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
But it's like,
So, so it sounds like, my bad. Um, it sounds like you're saying that you would hand them like a seed for them to nurture. Um,
yeah, Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't want to overvalue, what I do. You know what I mean. I just want to
Mm.
be able to help in any way that I can and be able to build with my brothers. You know what I mean. So
Yeah,
if
I'm
you want
saying
to
from
talk,
I'm saying from like the earlier conversation that we was having, how you would go about, the people that you would like to invest in about their action and everything. It
yeah,
seemed like, what you would hand them from your point, investing into them, should be what I consider to see. You watch them to see what they would do with it.
you're right.
Will you grow this, into a tree, into a plant? Will you take care of it? Will you trim it? You know, so I see where you're going from there.
That's a good point.
Um,
Guess that's it. That's the truth. That is right.
that's an interesting, that's a good perspective that you have on it. I like that.
Thank you.
Um, and my last question, when it comes to talent, what talent are you looking for? Like anybody can listen to this podcast, so they can hear it directly from you. What talent could you use?
You're saying, repeat the question one more time.
So when it comes to talent, like what talent could you use? Like anybody could listen to this podcast, from artists to, other producers, directors, who could you use?
So this is how I'll answer that question. What I'll answer it, I'll say this, and this might not answer your question, but this is how I answer it. From my perspective, everyone has talent. Everyone has ability. It's about being able to not only have the discipline and the will to do it, but also be in the right spirit. Understanding that some things are not in your control, but for me, I have a higher power that I look to. He gives me the blessings to be able to empower myself, and he gives me the blessings to be able to empower other people. So,
Mm,
what I would tell anyone to do when it comes to talent is yes, for anyone that has great musical talent or great acting talent or just great commenting talent and all these different things. It's about having the inner moral, the inner truth, the inner fight to be able to like fight for what you believe in. You know what I mean?
no.
That's what's important. So I don't know if that answers your question totally, but that's where I'm gonna go with it.
Okay. And somewhat, I believe, yeah. Uh, in a sense, because like I said, anybody can listen to this podcast, so they would hear it directly from you. Like, hey, I'm exactly who you're looking for. Um,
Oh, I see what you're saying. How
yeah.
in terms of like, okay, well, how do I judge talent? How do I?
Or, well, leave a message out there. Like I said, I build my platform for people to connect so they can hear it directly from you. Like, who
Gotcha.
could you, connect with? Who could you use on your team?
I am.
Um,
I am
but go ahead.
I am looking to build a network of individuals that want to create positive, educational, edgy, entertaining content. I'm looking for content that can inspire and challenge the minds of young people and old people across the country, from different perspectives and different walks of life. That's my goal. My goal is to be
Mm,
able to make what we can do to make sure that people see positive images. That's what I'm looking for.
okay. All right. Thank you. That was my fault. I should rephrase the question. Um, Before you go, to give you a heads up, this one is a free trial to give everybody a spotlight, but after this, there will be a small fee.
Okay.
Um, uh, Also as well, this is going to take about 2 to 3 weeks, for it to be posted on. Before I even go there, would you like this to be a video or audio? If you decide to use video, I can post this on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
Audio will be exclusive on Spotify.
we could definitely do video for sure.
Okay. All right. With YouTube video,
Yes,
it'll
sir.
be out within 2 to 3 weeks. But when it comes to Spotify, I have you in rotation with other talents, so it go by order who come first. Or by subscribing to the podcast, there are some benefits. But outside of that, it was great to have you as a special guest. I definitely enjoyed this conversation.
Brother, it was a blast, and I really appreciate it. Let's do this again.
I'm definitely looking forward to it, and even collaborating. Like I said, I bring talent, so you know, I'm pretty sure there's a way we can collaborate.
Let's build.
Um, as Bill indeed, and damn. Oh, before you go, Sasha, shout out all your social platforms. Shout out anybody that you want to put on, and then drop out of your projects. Drop out of your 3 projects that you want people to tune into to support.
Yes, sir. My name is Timothy McKain. Make sure to follow me on McKain Entertainment Network. Make sure to check out the film Can a Nigga Do Shakespeare? Make sure to check out the new black superhero sung by Lorenzo Murphy Jr. Make sure to check out, let's see, what's my sports show called? It's called The Fight Game on Sports Rap Radio. Make sure to check that out. That's the first all black sports radio station. Your boy making history. Check us out. Check out
Shout out to
Shout out to Craig Scott. Shout out to TumainiJohnson of FX Media, Focal Edge Films. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters who've been working with me throughout the years. Appreciate y'all. And shout out to my man out here doing his thing. This was an incredible podcast. Appreciate you, brother.
much love. And also, I forgot to mention one more thing. I also see you appear in These Urban Times uh, podcast as well. So shout out to them. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yes, sir.
Um, it's
Shout
good
out.
to see you do your interview on there as well. But it was great to have you on this podcast. I
Absolutely.
look forward to having you on again.
Can't
Have a
wait.
great one.
You have a blessed one.
You too as well. Have a blessed one.
Peace.
Peace.